A couple of days ago, a friend of mine in Pennsylvania sent me a picture of an editorial in his local newspaper. He took a snapshot of it. The headline is, "Trump Wins." And the entire editorial is, "We have no words." And then a bunch of blank space. Now, this wasn't some student newspaper where some functionally illiterate millennial would just say, like Donald Trump, oh my God. No, this was a real newspaper, the Observer Reporter in Western Pennsylvania, that has been publishing in one form or another since 1808. Here's their heritage building in Washington County, Pennsylvania. And the newspaper, whose purpose it is to report things and analyze things, couldn't or wouldn't. We have no words. Isn't it your job to have words? I mean, you are a newspaper. It was so embarrassing that one of the paper's owners wrote this letter. As a former half-owner of the Observer Reporter, I disassociate myself from the insulting blank-page editorial about the election for President of the United States. My wife, Sally D. Northrup, who does own a small portion of the paper, is mortified. Can you imagine that? Your own owners are disowning you. The newspaper seems to have deleted the original editorial from its website, but of course the internet is forever, and there it is, immortalized on Google Cache. But look, their editorial was stupid, but it was honest. I believe that the editors had no words because they had no clue. They don't know what to say because they don't know what arguments to make. At least that's more honest and more fair than lashing out at Americans, calling everyone racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, whatever. So I actually prefer the Observer Reporter to, say, the New York Times or CNN, who have no clue either, but cover up their ignorance by just insulting everyone and calling everyone names. But don't you think a newspaper, especially a local newspaper in small-town West Pennsylvania, don't you think they should have a clue? If not about Donald Trump, at least about their own readers. Because Washington County went for Donald Trump huge. 61% for Trump, 36% for Clinton. Now in 2008, Washington County was pretty much 50-50 Republicans and Democrats. Then in 2012, it went Republican by a 13% margin. And then last week, a huge 25% margin. That's 24,000 votes. And remember, Pennsylvania, the whole state, only tipped Republican by 65,000 votes. Washington County was almost half of that gap. Washington County helped flip all of Pennsylvania into a Republican state for the first time since 1988. And the local newspaper had no clue about what's happening all around it. They were literally sitting on the story of the year. Rural, small-town, blue-collar America, Rust Belt, coal country, steel mills, folks who used to vote Democrat, now voting Trump nearly 2-1, but they have no words. Oh my God. Hey, can I help a bit? I mean, I'm a Canadian, but I've been to Washington County 3 or 4 times in the past few years, which is probably 3 or 4 times more than Hillary Clinton visited. Here I was stopping at the Turtle Twist, naturally, but actually I went there to study how a poor Rust Belt part of America can make an economic comeback. See, Western Pennsylvania used to be all about coal and steel, but that's been tough going for 20, 30 years, partly because of cheap competition from the third world, and partly because of Democratic Party elites like Hillary Clinton.
We're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business.
And partly because of Barack Obama, too.
So if somebody wants to build a coal-powered plant, they can. It's just that it will bankrupt them.
See, Clinton and Obama and all the fancy Democrats love their fashionable causes like global warming.
I have made climate change a priority in my current role as Secretary of State. Climate change is a threat to the security of the United States.
So those fashionable causes get applause in the New York Times and at the United Nations and in the fancy neighborhoods of Manhattan and Hollywood. But in Washington County, Pennsylvania, talking about global warming and virtue signaling like that, it really means, sorry, no job for you or your dad or your uncle or your son. Meantime, China can't get enough coal and steel. That's where the jobs are. But along came fracturing for natural gas just just in the nick of time. And Washington County has become the center of the fracking miracle. In a geological formation called the Marcellus Shale, more natural gas is produced in Washington County and surrounding counties than anywhere else in America, even more than Texas. It's amazing. I've seen it for myself. That's why I kept going down there. It's created 200,000 jobs. It's reduced energy prices for all Pennsylvanians too, by the way. It's turned the Rust Belt into a series of boom towns. That's why I kept going down there. I wanted to see if maybe Canada could learn how to turn around a struggling economy by allowing fracking technology in places like New Brunswick, where they ban fracking. Well, the Democrats hate fracking. All the Democrats and their celebrity entourage, well, they all go into Western Pennsylvania, call for a ban on fracking, and then go back to New York City. So they're calling for a war on the one industry that's still giving families in Pennsylvania jobs. And you're surprised that Washington County has gone so hard against the Democrats and for the Republicans. You know, the Democrats used to be the party of the guys who wore hard hats. Now, at least under Hillary Clinton, they're the party of Goldman Sachs and Saudi donors and environmental activists and Yoko Ono. That's why Washington County went for Trump, nearly 2-1. And even this Canadian tourist can see that. For the Rebel.media, I'm Ezra Levine. We talk a lot about politics and about North American ethical energy versus OPEC conflict energy on our channel. Click below to subscribe to never miss a video.